Let's go.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Crossover Cinema Podcast. I'm your host, Kaya.
And I'm Carlo, and today we're talking about a franchise that began in 1988 featuring Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara, and Jeffrey Jones. Yeah, directed and produced by Tim Burton. I'm talking about Beetlejuice 2, or Beetlejuice, or Beetlejuice, like they say in the movie.
I'd say
It's the French version.
Beetlejuice, sir.
I know, but it's the French version, and it's
It's fine.
Beetlejuice. It's it's such a strange way, but it's a choice. And yeah, let's open the podcast with that review. Seriously, let's open it with, I think, the opening that it's with the little model that we saw. That give back a real nostalgia for me, like that. Like, I like the beginning of the
for
movie.
real.
Seriously, it's a choice that Tim Burton made, but it's a well done choice. I think, like, he went to pick up us back where we left it. Yeah, that for me was a great beginning. I don't know, Kaya, how you felt about the movie. I know you didn't saw it when you were younger.
Well, it's
But for
it's a
me,
little complicated. It's a little more complicated. I know for you, you grew up with it. You're a '90s baby, so that's
for
a
sure.
given, right?
For
I'm a
me,
late '90s baby. I'm a '97 baby, right? So for me, I saw it on Teletoon. It was playing. It played a lot, and I never got to watch it in its entirety. I just caught it, whenever it was playing, and I'd see some scenes that it looked really cool and zany. But I never gave it the full watch, and so I was like, listen, if I'm gonna go see Beetlejuice 2 based on the trailers, I thought were pretty good. I'm like, yeah, let me watch this first one because there's no way. Same with Blade Runner 2049. I had to watch Blade Runner 1 before I watched that because you just got to pay respect to that franchise.
just gotta
and
do
to
it.
really
Yeah,
understand what's going on in it.
what's going on? Yeah.
And I think for me, it's interesting when you look at a '90s film, right? It has this or I just think films of the past, they have these qualities to them, this endearing nature to it, and I feel like what Beetlejuice 2 was trying to do was capture that. And I think in a lot of respects, not everything, absolutely not everything, but in a lot of respects, it captured that. And I think that member berries, those are some good member berries. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah,
pretty good.
that's a good example of good member berries for seriously for all the movie that we got in the last year, let's say. There was a lot of member berries, a lot of stuff that we
Twisters,
were looking for, and
Alien Romulus, like we just talked about last time. I think Twisters and Alien Romulus this year were relying on that Deadpool Wolverine.
yeah,
That's something that I think is very interesting to see. Hollywood continually rely on the nostalgia play, and sometimes it's effective, and sometimes it's not.
well, for this movie, some part were effective, but I'm not gonna say that all the part worked for me. One of the part that I really want to talk about in this podcast is the animation that we used to use to explain what happened with Jeffrey Jones. I don't know if you remember what I'm saying, but he got eaten by the shark. The animation for me was a great animation, but I didn't felt the Tim Burton side of it. I don't know if you know what I mean. I was expecting maybe something like, I don't know, more glow key or something, but yeah, when it passed, I was like, okay, it's like a
I think
new genre. I don't know. I felt that dissonance with Tim Burton, what I'm used to it usually.
I'd put it like this. For me, I've watched the original, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer,
Yeah,
animation, and Community has a really good episode. I think where Abed's having a crisis, and they go and do a kind of Christmas animation,
yeah,
stop motion, and I feel like that was what it was trying to emulate, and at the same time pay respect to the character while also dismissing, for lack of a better term, a piece of shit actor, right? So I think what's really good about it is they found a way to incorporate it into the story in the exact zany way you expect Beetlejuice to do, and then just take it a step further and still incorporate some straight up good old killing, like a shark eating your head off. So
yeah.
I enjoyed that. For
And
me,
it was
that
a
really
great
worked.
way.
It really worked.
But I just questioned the animation in its core. It's just not necessarily what I was expecting for it. But I like the way how they explained what happened. I like the fact how we like brush him off like that,
And
and he's there,
we
but
really
he's not
sidestep
there.
him
But
for the
like,
most part for the
yeah,
rest of
and
the
that
movie.
that was a great way to do it. Seriously, I liked it. But yeah,
I would say, to add to that, I think that because the character is an interesting character in the first one, like I actually think her dad was an interesting guy in relation to all the stuff going on. He tried to capitalize on it, but initially he just wants to chill out. And I feel like
hmm,
doing that and paying respect to the character was a very good way to just push that forward. And incorporating him at the end, that his character goes into the great beyond with Delia. And I think all that I enjoyed that sort of stuff. So for
oh
me,
yeah,
with that,
that
I feel like that was a very good way to cap it. And it still had that Tim Burton flair that I expected. I think it's just a new thing that he's trying to do. I think he is still trying to explore different ways to express his artistic intent. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm with that. I'm with that. But I think
I'm
to the main point, which is we all were there for Beetlejuice, right? Like he again utilized him in I think the same way the first film did, which is not sparingly, but just the right amount. Like
mm,
the presence is felt. He has his moments, the set pieces in the third act, and then he's gone. And I feel like
yeah.
that's the way to do these sorts of films if you're going to keep doing them. I think he's ever present. He's always going to be there. Same with the ending. And I feel like Michael Keaton's performance, this movie's pretty all right on its own, but Michael Keaton really makes it wow.
And
He's
you
just
look
so
the same with that makeup, so that's
really,
amazing.
really exactly the same.
But that's one point that I really liked about the movie. We went back, we had what we wanted, with the afterlife world, like that was what I really wanted. Like that was really important in the first movie. That was really like some images that as a young kid you loved. And we really got that. Like we were in the same places they were waiting. We got all those places that was like iconic, and we got even like more because let's talk about Monica Bellucci, who was in the movie. Uh,
Monica, ooh, girl,
no, but like really
so
love that
fine.
actress, love everything. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
exactly.
just have to
Like,
note it. She's so fine. She's so fine. So fine.
but
And when she
I
was
don't
in
know,
Bond the
like,
last time, I was like, damn. And now she in Beetlejuice with the whole makeup and everything, looking like she's dressed to kill. And I'm like, I can really
she's
get
la
that.
femme fatale, bro. She
Exactly.
got that cast, and it's okay. But character wise, I'm not sure. I was like, I didn't understand all of it. Like, I found that it was like that side story that I didn't quite get, and I found it nice. I found the way that she was like bringing her back fully with all those clips on and everything. That was awesome. But like for the story wise, I was wondering like,
She was more of a plot device than anything. And I think
yeah,
the thing with casting Monica Bellucci and not giving her more to do, I think was down to Tim Burton just deciding he wanted that femme fatale presence without actually having to commit to, I think, making her more than just a, antagonist who comes around and just has a couple scenes where she kills people,
hmm,
climax. Oh, I want Beetlejuice, and then dies, right? And I feel like that was reductive of him to do. I think that was one thing I feel with the movie. I think some of the plot points overall, not just hers, but in particular hers, were rushed in a certain way. And I feel like that telenovela sequence, that was like, I need maybe not even more of that, but I think more stuff like that to give that same sort of that was one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. It was like he went right back. It was like a deleted scene or deleted sequence from the original,
yeah,
It
exactly. It
was
was
like,
like a little bit of like history of everything. I loved it too. Uh, I really like the fact that we really feel like the same kind of vibe that we felt in the film of 1988. And, like that big worm that they really put it together. Like I felt like that it was not completely CGI. I felt not the plastic, but the Play-Doh kind of way of like all those, all those stuff that were made like with all those makeup and disguise and everything. Right
I
now,
think it's I think
I
it's claim
still
I think it
got
was
that thing, and I'm
claymation.
happy for that. What?
To add to your point, I think it was claymation. I think that is like one of the stylings that he was doing. I think it's stop motion and the claymation, and I think it really is nice to see that used so effectively.
Yeah, because I think that if it wasn't there, it wouldn't work like that. Like,
It wouldn't
I
have
think the
been good
movie
member
worked
berries.
generally, but
It
yeah,
just wouldn't
we
have been good
needed
member
these
berries,
ones.
bro.
That's for
Straight up.
sure.
And I feel like he
Straight up.
knew how much to use and where to use it. And I feel like the way he tried to incorporate that was very much akin to the original. It wasn't like he looked at the original and said, I need to do more. It was like he looked at it and he's like, I think I can do something with a new story, with a fresh take, and add a little more to it. And I feel like that is what I think we should see more from sequels that rely on nostalgia plays of original IPs, cult classics, etc. And I feel like Burton still he might not be at his top of his game as he used to be, of course. But I think he's really showing that he's still got it 100%. And I really feel like the synergy he has with the entire cast in terms of how he directed them, I think it was very clear. Even though I have some weak points, like for me, my strongest points are obviously Michael Keaton, and then of course our dearest Winona Ryder. She's OG. She's always awesome. I really enjoy her, and I enjoy her performance here a lot. Even though she's definitely different than the original character, but I like the take. I like the change to it, and I feel like the change was natural as a change could be with relation to how her character moved. And the Ghost House show, like all of that really worked for me.
Well, I'm happy you liked it, because for me, you see, I found that it was like some choices of acting, and it was okay. I felt the fact that she was living a lot of stuff, like with the supernatural and everything, but I'm not gonna say that I was a big fan of her acting in the movie. I think it would have been nice to see maybe a more old kind of like character that it was in the old Beetlejuice, but it was okay. Like, I like Miss Ryder. I like when she's in movies. I go always watch everything, but I'm just saying that in the movie it was not my go-to character.
No, I can understand that. I think from the perspective of like,
and I think that yes, we needed the scene that where they go and Beetlejuice will try to like marry her again. I get it. Like, we wanted that after 20 years. He's trying again. I get it. But I think it was maybe not like a great choice. But I suppose that at the end, with like a consensus of everybody like saying what we should do, like it's a safe choice to go with. Let's do the same kind of plot that we got at the past. But I think it would have been more interesting that
a revamp of the original.
Plot. But I think it would have been more interesting if we would have go with her daughter maybe instead. I know it's a little cliche, but right now with the both seeing it on the other side
entirely, like I feel like the weakest character was Jenna Ortega. Her daughter character. I actually don't even remember what her name was.
I think she did what she needed to do.
I'm so
seriously,
sorry to Jenna. I did not remember your character's name. I apologize.
No, but seriously, like, she did what she needed to do. I don't think the character was weak. I think it was just the character was what Tim Burton wanted. It was simple. It was like another kind of.
That was my biggest weak point for the movie, was a lot of the narrative choices they made for her character. I feel like
it's like if she was there, but she didn't have like you say, exactly. So that's where I think it should have maybe like switched, and just for the marriage, to a degree, for the interest.
Like that,
I don't know,
that aspect I understand, where I think a lot of the, like, again, the rushing of these plot points to a degree, like, I think to show her be so naive with this boy, to not like take maybe another 10 minutes of screen time to show like that she actually began to trust him on a friend level and then fell for him. Like, I feel like
it went fast.
It went fast, and it clearly, like, I think there was just some choices narratively there that didn't work for me, and I think a lot of them related to Lydia's daughter. And I feel like right now, what I want to see from like potentially like another film with this sort of thing is like expand on the daughter's relation to the dead. I think that they should have absolutely given her a hereditary power that her mother has, and that she has a different feel. Maybe, for example, Lydia's lost her way. right? Like she's gone and watched. She makes this TV show. She kind of doesn't really commune with the dead in the same way that she did that it was implied at the end of the first film. And I feel like if you had her daughter kind of embody what she was at the end of the first film, and then Lydia finding her way back through her daughter and like that relationship, it would have been so interesting to see that. And I feel like Burton just was like, throw them over here, throw them over there. You know, it's all right. It's pretty good. That
yeah,
seems
because I felt that he wanted to give us some memory berries that wasn't that good. That's the thing. For me, the song in the marriage was really not good too. Like I found it really long. At the beginning, I was okay. Let's go for it, but it was a little too long. Like
they could have cut it at the knees.
Full circle, yeah, exactly. For real, they cut so much other stuff. Maybe, like you say, put more time for her daughter.
Maybe there's a version of this
that's marriage, but yeah, for sure. Like
maybe there's a director's cut. You know, maybe something like that.
Let's see it. And yeah,
I think.
But yeah,
moreover, I just want to make this point. I think Burton, in a lot of respects, like brought his A game on a directorial front. I think he brought his A game for the most part. I just think as a director with so much carte blanche, he gets pay or play deals. You know, like if the movie doesn't happen, he still gets paid. You know what I mean? He's got that level of power in the business, and I feel like for you to make the film and not kind of see some of the flaws that we see, and you've made films for so long, I feel like it's a little odd. I feel like part of me wonders if some degree he got a little bit, you know, he started to phone it in a bit towards some of the aspects of the production, like not caring too much about the writing, really just focusing on the visual and whatnot. And I feel like that definitely goes down to the writers. I think one of the writers on here, Seth Grahame-Smith, I think he worked on like all sorts of scripts that have like not worked out and not been good. I even think The Flash, but I think sometimes writing really is the key part with a lot of these movies lately. I think it's not really this direction and the cinematography with some of the latest productions in Hollywood. I think a lot of times it's really just the writing, and I think that's where some of it falls flat. I think Michael Keaton's performance carries that to such a large degree because he's just so. He's magnetic. You want to be around him, even though he's just so gross. You know?
Yeah, you completely forget that he's Michael Keaton. Like he becomes Beetlejuice, and you just see Beetlejuice. It's really a great quality to have as an actor. Seriously, no, I think it's a great movie. Like the kind of movie that you watch one time. It's not like the first Beetlejuice. I don't know if like it's a kind of movie that you will watch 1 and 2. Following
back to back.
It's not like
that's a good point.
That's
the goal, right? That's the goal.
That's the goal. I think it's to add on because Beetlejuice is a movie that a lot of people watch during Halloween. It's a fact.
I actually think maybe because there are some strong points in here just to note, like Catherine O'Hara.
I know, but like, back to back, bro. It was the same scene with the cord in her mouth when she couldn't say the name, and like. I don't know. There was a lot of like member berries, like we talk about. Like
I think if we had Gina Davis and maybe just a little bit, not Alec Baldwin in the film, but just like alluding to his character, I feel like that would have helped. I think having the original leads would have really benefited in some way. Having them incorporated in the narrative. I get the whole they moved on.
No, but Alec Baldwin, we would have been a great choice.
Baldwin, but I think Gina Davis she's right there. She's right there, and you know what? She looks great. Don't de-age her. You know, let's go. Let's do that. Run that, Hollywood. Yeah. Run that, Tim. Run it. But for real, I think for the most part, this movie hits a good record. I'd say it's a 7.5 for me. A solid 7.5. I think he did a good job.
And you see, for me, Alien was a 7.5, but for me, Beetlejuice, because I think I really, really like it, I will put it a 7 on what I would have, I don't know, how I felt at the end of the movie with overall. Like, I'm going to put a 7 for story-wise, like, for what I know about it.
I think that's fair. I think that's really fair. Like, real talk, if we're thinking about it, like, the 7 range it's not a bad movie. That doesn't.
It's not a bad movie, especially not in 2024.
I'm gonna
like seriously, like.
But like with gaming, when somebody sees a 7 for a review score, they think the game is bad, but that doesn't mean the game is bad. It's just maybe there's just some issues. You know, it's still good. And I think that's
and
what
it's our
Beetlejuice
issues.
does.
It's not even like issues like general. Like it's our opinion. About
exactly.
It, so.
It's the subjective, the feeling of.
But they do great. They do great right now with the box office and everything.
And they are doing pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. Warner Brothers are like.
Oh yeah, they're happy for that one. That's for sure.
Of course.
So everybody, I'm Carlo. Thank you everybody to be there to the Cinema Crossover podcast. Yeah.
You already know I'm Kaya, and we love having you guys come through to watch the show and just, vibe with us and see what we think about the latest movies, releases, and just media in general releasing, So on that note, see you later. Ciao.
Peace.